Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the League One Review Show, episode 13. We're going some. You will notice I have not got my usual co-commentator with me, Jake. He's had his booster vaccination. The first two vaccinations absolutely knocked him for six. He wasn't sure if he could make this one at 6:30. But then I got offered a carvery, so we've pulled it forward earlier than advertised, 5 o'clock. Still going to be around half an hour long. We're just going to go through the international break fixtures and then on to this weekend's fixtures. As I've said, I am flying solo on this one, so please get your comments in. I will try and keep up with them, but normally I'm watching those while Jake's talking about either his game or the games that we're currently looking at. So I will try my best. Please bear with me. But yeah, link to his YouTube is in the description as always. Please go ahead and follow him, subscribe. Fantastic content creator. He knows his stuff, so please go and support him, even though he's not here tonight. But yeah, with me being on my own, I think we will probably fly through this, but please get your comments in. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching this on the repeat, please comments as well, and I will try to get to them throughout the week. So let's get into this, starting with the international break fixtures. Same format that we've always done it. We'll just go through the fixtures. The only problem is I'm just going through it on my own. So starting with Bolton, a good 2-0 win on Friday night. This was the first game of the international break, and this was the first win in 6 for Bolton after Everett had come out and said that Bolton were the best team in the league, and they finally got that win since him saying that against bottom of the table Crewe, Alexandra, which has helped Doncaster Rovers out there for sure. But yeah, poor defending led to a bit of panic in the penalty area, which led to Josh Sheehan's penalty, and that was a solid penalty for 1-0. Fantastic, well put away for there. But Crewe showed what they're all about for the second goal as well, with poor marking and Kachunga tormenting the left back. Very good player. Squared it across to Bakayoko, who slotted away, and in a 5-minute period, the game was pretty much dead and buried. 2-0 to Bolton. And that's one that I kind of looked at and thought, we've got those on Tuesday night. Could be a tough fixture to go to the University of Bolton Stadium and come away with any points. You look at the stats: 14 shots, 5 on target. Crewe didn't really offer too much in that game. Possession fairly even, but yeah, I think Bolton have come out winners in that one, fair and square on Friday night. Moving on to Burton and Charlton. So the Rovers got absolutely battered by Charlton when after I forgot his name. After the manager got released, please in the chat let me know. His name's completely gone mental block on that one. But yeah, Charlton 3 wins, 10 points from 4 games with this result. Trevor Kettle dishing out cards very early on. And rightfully so from what I saw. Tyler Rollinson in the chat, Jackson's at the wheel, definitely. And we'll get into that a little bit later with this weekend's result as well. But yeah, Jackson doing fantastic at Charlton. It started against us, unfortunately. Ian Bradley, he's come early. Hi, fellas, you'll be very happy as well. Rotherham doing bits, as always. But yeah, this game, statistically, it looks fairly even, but yeah, a bit of handbags early on in the penalty area meant Trevor Kettle had to show both of them a red card. From what I saw, I thought it was pretty stonewall for the red cards. Can't really grumble too much. And the set piece undid Burton on that day. Not much response from Burton from what I saw. Charlton running out fairly easy winners there as well. Liam Martin in the chat went to Charlton yesterday. Such a poor result. So yeah, we'll get onto that one shortly. Jonathan, good evening, in the chat as well. So some regulars popping up. Nice to see that you managed to get here at 5 o'clock, even though it's normally at 6:30. We will be back at normal time next week. Moving on to Ipswich versus Oxford. Ipswich very unlucky in this one, according to what I saw. Bon and Selena early shots off the post in the first half. Ipswich had much better of the game for me, and unlucky not to get the 3 points. Liam asking Ian who he supports. Unfortunately, I don't want to be saying this. Rotherham. He's a Rotherham fan, so he's a very happy Rotherham fan. Absolutely doing bits in the league. Just Rotherham, one of those teams where probably too good for League One. It'd be nice to see them establish themselves in the Championship for sure. But yeah, Oxford didn't really offer too much in this game. Ipswich had the much better of the chances and probably feel unfortunate not to come away with 3 points on Saturday there. In only team apart from Charlton to beat you this season. There we go. A little bit of banter in the chat. We love it. Moving on to one of the big results, Liam, you'll be able to tell us about this one. Plymouth 4, Accrington Stanley 1. And up to this weekend, you already know the results from this weekend, but Plymouth unbeaten from the opening day of the season. And they're just an absolute juggernaut of a team at the minute. Injuries, players out, and I fear for teams in League One when them players are coming back because they're just going to enhance your squad, and you're performing absolutely superbly. Longest unbeaten run, a little bit fortuitous for the first goal, that own goal. It's looped over the keeper, but in football, I think you make your own luck. And then making it 2-0, Jordan Houghton, ex-Rovers player, making it 2-0 before half-time. Just after half-time, Accrington Stanley put up a little bit of a fight back, but it was very short-lived. 63 minutes, Ryan Broom, absolute beauty of a goal. If you've not seen it, please head over to the highlight reel. Absolute fantastic hit from outside of the box. And then Hardy completing the scoring after a little bit of a barren spell for him after a good start to the season. He's kind of broken that on the 76th minute. But look at the stats. Accrington, plenty of shots, but nothing too worrying for the goalkeeper, only 2 on target. Very clinical from Plymouth here, 9 shots, 7 on target. And Liam, yeah, superb result, but yesterday was terrible. Pretty much sums it up. Football as a whole. Moving on to MK Dons against Cambridge. So Jonathan will be able to jump in on the chat on this one. Just doing bits in League One at the minute. MK Dons back-to-back 4-1 wins, and Max Waters and Scott Twine show this one last Saturday. Started very sharply, 4-4 for Max Waters. Is squared it across to Scott Twine. There was something very similar this weekend that just didn't quite pull off. It was just behind Twine. But yeah, lovely football to create the first goal. Max Waters gets 4-4 on the 25th minute, and then the two link up again on the 36th, and they're blowing Cambridge out of the water. And then once again, the link up, and in the 76th minute, Max Waters gets his 5th goal in 4 games. And then there was a bit of a consolation for Cambridge at the end. Just outplayed on the day from what I saw in the highlight reel. Don't know if Jonathan wants to pop in and say if I'm wrong or not, but everything that I saw, MK Dons deservedly winning that game comfortably. And this is normally where I'll leave it up to Jake to complain about Darren Moore and complain about drawing and everything else that he normally complains about. But before we go on to that, let's a couple more comments have come in. We'll try and get through as many comments with me being on my own. Ian Bradley, MK, impressive right now. Credit where credit is due. Yeah, definitely. We'll be taking a look at the table at the end of this stream in about 20 minutes or so. But yeah, very positive viewing for MK Dons fans. Liam, back in, very frustrating when you take 3,000 fans and the players don't turn up. We must take a minimum of 4 points from Wycombe and Wigan. And that shows the expectation that this good run of results has done for Plymouth. I think I had them down as a mid-table team this season, a very good start, and now they're wanting 4 points from 2 very good League One teams. So that just shows how good Plymouth have been this season. And I don't think you're far wrong. If you get 4 points from there, you're ticking over very, very nicely. And then he's also said, "Yep, very impressive." When you don't bet them to win. Actually, but our next 2 are Ipswich and Oxford both away. So that's a tough couple of games for Rotherham. We've got Bolton and Burton, Donny Rovers. So a couple of tough away games for us as well. But pretty much every game in League One for us at the minute is tough. But yeah, on to Sheffield Wednesday and Gillingham. This was one of those games where probably destroyed a number of accumulators. I know Sheffield Wednesday 5 draws in 6. But yeah, Gillingham looking a poor team this season, looking like they're struggling to find any sort of consistency or form. But they managed to find a little bit at Hillsborough, unlucky from Patterson to begin with. A lovely touch where it's been played across and it's kind of done like the little back heel flick, but it's just hit the post, not quite, post and in, hit the post and managed to be cleared. But yeah, the Gillingham's opener, a beautiful touch from the free kick. It's come across, nice little deft flick through to Oliver, and he's just got all the time in the world to pick his spot and slotted past the on-rushing keeper. And the touch just absolutely ruined the Sheffield Wednesday defence. Couldn't deal with that. But yeah, after that, Wednesday put plenty of pressure on. Shot from Barry Bannon, saved well, but parried into a dangerous area, and Canberra was there just to slot away. But the draw probably wasn't enough, and the pressure is still on Darren Moore at Hillsborough. By all means, guys, in the chat, let us know. Do you think Darren Moore is the right man for the job? I know him pretty well from the Rovers days, but yeah, it looks like he might have been found out at Sheffield Wednesday, but not a bad result for them on Saturday. Ian's popped in. Gills are a mess at the minute. Evans might walk. Fans unhappy and Scally under pressure. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess at Gillingham at the minute, on and off the field. So hopefully I'll get Matt from Gills in the Blood TV on this at some point, and we'll be able to have a chat about all things Gillingham. As I've said in a lot of videos, you guys know your clubs much better than what I do, so please help me out. Liam, Ian, we could both drop points in both our tough games this week, so yeah, tough week for both Rotherham and Plymouth. And it's one of those divisions where everybody's beating everybody. It's very depends how you look at it. Is it a poor division where there's a lack of quality in it, or is it a very tough division where there's that much quality in it that it is very competitive? I'd lean on that side. Latherhead, Wednesday are going to get smashed by MK Dons. That's a big statement. Maxwell Grimes, I think Darren Moore is more of a coach than a manager. No disrespect to the bloke. I'd agree with that. He is very good at developing young players. He showed it at the Rovers, bringing young talent in on loan and getting the best out of them. And I think you get that from a coach. Man management, jury is out on that one. And the final game for the international break was Wycombe against Portsmouth. And Wycombe, one of those teams that are ticking over nicely, but not really pulling up any trees. A poor penalty from Jacobson was saved. And then Harness did absolutely everything to miss his opportunity on the 73rd minute, but bundled it over the line. But a goal is a goal, you take it. And as the stats show, 21 shots from Wycombe, 5 on target. They piled the pressure on late on to try and get the equaliser, but it just didn't quite happen for them. And they fell to a 1-0 defeat at home. So that takes us through the 7 games on the international break. So moving on to this weekend's results, there was one game missing. I believe it was Wigan against Oxford due to COVID. That one was called off on Saturday. So we're going to start with Crewe against Gillingham. Fantastic result for Crewe. But yeah, I think this is all part and parcel of Gillingham being a bit of a mess on and off the field. Lots of injuries for Gillingham. As Ian said, it looks like Evans might be walking. You've got Scally under pressure, so all of that put together is not a very good concoction for a football club. So Crewe have capitalised on the instability at Gillingham at the minute. But yeah, Gillingham did everything but score at 1-0 down after Chris Long put Crewe in front. But yeah, the second goal, 90+1. Far too easy to break the defence down. A lovely bit of football, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Ian's hit the nail on the head. Lovely, well-worked goals from Crewe. Something that probably surprised a lot of people because of the position that they're in. But yeah, I think Gillingham probably made them look better than what they are. Yeah, 20 shots, 8 on target, 60% possession. I do fear for Gillingham at the minute if something doesn't change very quickly. On to the big result of the weekend for me. Charlton 2, Plymouth 0. We've got Tyler was in the chat. I don't know if he's still knocking around. Please comment if you are still in the chat, Tyler. But Liam's still here. he's popping up every now and again. He's already said it, a poor performance from Plymouth, but Plymouth were unbeaten since opening day, that game against Rotherham. But Charlton unbeaten under a new manager, so something was gonna give somewhere. Addicks absolutely on fire. So last weekend there were 3 wins, 10 points from 4. They're now 4 wins, 13 points from 5. Just give him the job. Surely, got to give him the job. Even if it's till the end of the season. Come up against a team as good as Plymouth. I know at home it was a fantastic crowd. They did an initiative where season ticket holders could bring 3 people for free. And I think that's a great initiative because they've seen a decent game, a decent result, and potentially that's more bums on seats in the future. But yeah, Plymouth dominating possession, but just not doing enough with it, not creating enough with it. 8 shots, 3 on target is not a great return. Maxwell and Grimes, Charlton lack depth, can't see them climbing into the top 6 and staying there. They've got a decent squad, they're hitting a bit of consistency, and we'll see the table, what that's done for them since we played them, and I think they were a place above Doncaster. They're now climbing the table, and like we say, is it a lack of ability or a lack of quality in the division, which means teams can beat other teams, or is it that it's that competitive? Maybe they've given people too much of a head start, a little bit like Ipswich, but only time will tell with that. But yeah, early on, big chance for Hardy. It was a good save, but then a lovely finish from Purrington at the back post, unmarked. So Plymouth will be looking at that, thinking that that's one that they could have avoided. And then job done with 6 minutes to go with Connor Washington. Very route one, undid Plymouth and finished the game off 2-0. 6 minutes to go, and yeah, it's a long way home. Well, not too long a way home for Plymouth. There's been longer trips, but yeah, a taste that they've not had to endure since opening day of the season. First defeat. It's a decent run, and now it's about how Plymouth react to that, and we'll see if they've got that staying power at the top of the table. I think it will be a good reaction, but yeah, only time will tell with that one. Moving on to Accrington Stanley versus Sheffield Wednesday. Got Latherhead as a Wednesday fan. We need to turn our draws into wins. Then we'll be in top 4. Yeah, I agree with that. And this one, I bet it was a bit squeaky bum time after being 3-0 up. Great following from Sheffield Wednesday went to Accrington, just shy of 2,700 fans. That's some support that even as a Rovers fan, you've got to credit where it's due. But yeah, it'd be nice to have that kind of travelling support for the Rovers as well. And almost 3,000 fans enjoyed an unstoppable early 20-25 minutes where Wednesday flew into a 3-0 lead and a couple of decent goals there as well. But David Mansell, just before half-time, 33 minutes, nice little overhead kick. Not the cleanest overhead kick that you'll see, but an overhead kick is an overhead kick, so it's nice to see nonetheless. Brought the deficit down to 2 goals with that just before half time, and that put the wind in the sails for Accrington a little bit. And then just after half time, Mumbongo slots in probably the best goal of the game for me, a good turn and a good hit, 3-2, and then that's it, isn't it? You're thinking, are they going to throw it away again? Is it going to be another draw? Maxwell, Wednesday are so suspect in set pieces. Yeah, it's corners, ones where goals are coming fairly regularly. But for me, so close was his name's Pell, Harry Pell. Great free kick that Peacock Farrell just tipped around the corner. It was a fantastic save, so it could have been 3-3. But yeah, Wednesday held out for their first win in 6, I believe it was. Moving on to the Rovers game, so this one, bit of a nothing game really. Although it's 0-0, it wasn't a boring 0-0. I would say that. I think both teams had chances. Lincoln had a very good chance in the first half. Caught us on the counter attack. Played down the left, whipped it in, and it was a free header. Louis Jones did very well to save it. It looked like it had gone over the line initially, but the more I've watched it, I think he has saved it. So yeah, clean sheet, can't grumble with that. I think we had a couple of decent opportunities in the second half. The ball's come through to Thiago. Just checking the chat. I think I've missed something. Could you do a League One review show on Wednesday to review? Oh, yeah. Ian's hit the nail on the head. I do have a life. Unfortunately, Sunday is kind of the only time available that I've got. Normally 6:30 because that gives me Sunday all day to like go out for a walk with the family or whatever. And it's not too late for bed for work in the morning. So Wednesday night would be a little bit tough. So yeah, try and fit it all in on a Sunday evening. I'd love to do this as a full-time job. Maxwell Grimes' season's a write-off. I think we'll be better after the new year. Lost a manager to a local rival, and we have to rebuild March on 2022. Yeah, believe. Good point and a clean sheet for Donny. Yeah, it's got to start somewhere. And to be fair, this has continued a half decent run of results for us. I think it's 1 defeat in 7 now. That defeat was a heavy 4-0 against Charlton, but can I see us getting any points from Bolton on Tuesday? I'm not so sure. The way form is poor. But what I saw on Saturday was fight and desire from the team, which I've not seen too much of leading up to this one. But this was the first clean sheet for Lincoln against the lowest scorers in the league, so it's not much to shout home about. But yeah, chances for both teams in both halves, but a lack of quality in the final third. 0-0, fair result for me. On to Cheltenham against Shrewsbury. It's very strange, this. I've not said that ex-Rovers players have scored much this weekend. I know there was Watters and Houghton in the international break. I think Watters might have scored for MK Dons. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, normally when we come to Cheltenham, there's a few players, Matty Blair, Alfie May and Andy Williams, sometimes pop up on the goal scoring chart, but not this weekend. And Cheltenham, the highest placed promoted team. So yeah, they're doing very, very well, establishing themselves in League One. But it was a very quick start from Shrewsbury. Daniel Udo on 4 minutes, sorry, not 40. And that boosted Shrewsbury's chance of getting out of the bottom 4 this weekend. In the chat, everybody who was in watching at the minute, handball on the line, instant red card. What are your thoughts on this? Should there be that double jeopardy rule where if the penalty was scored, the player's back on? Or do you think it should be a handball? I'm on the side of a red card for the handball. I'm on the side of the fence where he's clearly, he knows what he's doing, he's on the line, he's saved it off the pitch. That's my opinion. What is your opinion? Let us know in the chat or comments if you're watching this later on in the week. But for me, that swung the balance of the game. And then Cheltenham scored the penalty, decent penalty, and then they were just too strong for the 10 men, winning 2-0. So a good season so far for Cheltenham. Ian, Shrews could go down, in my opinion, really poor, but also capable of the odd surprise win, definitely. I think it's so tight down there. I've still got a little bit of hope that we're going to get out of it. January is massive for us. If we don't recruit well in January, I think we'll be one of the 4 teams that do slip into League Two. But yeah, January, huge for Doncaster Rovers. Moving on to Portsmouth, 2-1 against AFC Wimbledon, and they went 1-0 down through a penalty. It was a very clumsy challenge for the penalty. In my opinion, definite penalty. Ollie Palmer slotted it away very nicely. And potentially a little bit of pressure coming onto the Cowleys. They've not had the consistency in the league that I think fans of Portsmouth would expect. It's a very heavy shirt to wear, Portsmouth. But yeah, turn this game around. Jacobs beating the keeper at the near post to make it 1-1, and then a beautiful finish from Harness. Last weekend, he bundled it over and did everything to miss it, whereas this weekend, a very, very lovely finish from outside the box onto his right foot, slotted it into the bottom corner. Very nice goal, and it shows that little bit of quality that Harness does have, and pivotal for Portsmouth if they're going to do anything towards the top end of the season, the table this season for me. Yeah, Ian agrees. Results picking up for Pompey, but not top 6. Yeah, the consistency is not quite there for Portsmouth. I don't think it's a rebuilding season for those. I think the Cowley brothers will do well, but I think it'll be next season. But 2 wins on the bounce, is that the momentum that they're needing to push on into this busy Christmas festive period before the new year? On to MK Dons. MK Dons fans, hit me up in the chat if you're still here. But yeah, 1-0 against Burton. Not the prettiest win, but a win is a win. 3 points are 3 points. Put plenty of pressure on Burton early on. It didn't quite pay off, but a touch of quality from Max Waters, ex-Rovers player, makes it now 6 in 6, and Don's doing very, very well. But yeah, Burton, not a shot on target, shows that it's a bad day at the office for them, and hopefully they continue that into next weekend, because Rovers play them at the Pirelli, and we're desperate for points. So if we get 4 points from our next 2 games, I will be over the moon. I think we'll probably get 1 or 3 if we're lucky. But yeah, Burton not really showing much in this game. Had plenty of possession, but did absolutely nothing with it. Yeah, exactly. Sounds a bit of a boring game. Jonathan, if you're still here, let us know, was it a boring game, or have we missed the mark on this one? Was it actually quite good? Moving on to Wycombe against Bolton. I take this scoreline on Tuesday night, a 1-0 win against Bolton, definitely. But unfortunately, we don't have the quality of Sam Vokes in our squad. It was very close in the first half, I believe it was, a shot off the post, and then there was a soft penalty that was very easily saved. But the pressure, I mean, fairly even game looking at the stats, but from what I saw on the highlights, Wycombe had the majority of the game in terms of clear-cut opportunities, 19 shots, 7 on target, compared to Bolton's 18 and 4. And then the possession pretty even, with Bolton having slightly more with 58%, and Wycombe with 42. But a very good looping header on the 72nd minute from Sam Vokes gets Wycombe's first win at home in 5, I believe. Wycombe bore the best team in the league into submission. Shock. Yeah, from what I've seen of Wycombe, I wouldn't like to be following them week in, week out. On to Sunderland against Ipswich. So, by the looks of it, the international break has helped a bit of a flounder in Sunderland at the minute, struggling to kind of pick up any sort of results. Didn't have a good time in South Yorkshire over the last month or so, but they were huffing and puffing throughout this game. Ipswich had the better chances, but didn't put any of them away. But then the last 5 minutes, everything went sunny side up for Sunderland, with a fairly fortuitous goal for Luke O'Nien. The Ipswich keeper, name's Walton, misjudged the flight of the ball from the corner, and Luke O'Nien's capitalised from that at the back post and popped it in. I think if that hadn't have gone in, we'd have been looking at a 0-0 here. Very soft penalty. I don't think this is a penalty at all. The shot's been taken. It can't really move out of the way. Referee very quick to give it. So again, what's your thoughts on that? Was it a penalty if you've seen it, or do you think it was a bit harsh? Personally, I think it was a harsh penalty to give away, but it was dispatched with venom by Aidan McGeady. But yeah, the 2-0 for me flattered Sunderland. Just seeing quite a few comments flying in. So before we go on to the Fleetwood Morecambe game, let's have a quick look. Jonathan's popped in. Yeah, wasn't the best, but a win is a win. Controlled. Totally agree with you. There's no column on the table saying that it was an ugly win. It's just 3 points. Turbotic, hello, how are you? I'm very good. Feeling a little bit lonely without a co-commentator, but hopefully we'll be back to normal next week. Poor Cook's many different voices. We're all disappointed. I love how his voice changes within minutes of every single interview. Another comment from Turbotic. Sunderland were poor all game. They didn't have a shot on target until the 85th minute. We dominated all game. Yes, we deserve to win, but we didn't take our chances, so fair play to Sunderland. So yeah, I think that shot on the 85th minute, if the keepers judge the flight of the ball correctly, we're probably looking at a 0-0 there. 2-0, definitely flat Sunderland, but they'll take it after their recent results. So we've just ticked over the half an hour mark. So I've been talking for a very long time. We've got 2 games to go. A quick look at the table and then we'll round off. So the local derby, Fleetwood versus Morecambe. A lovely free kick for 1-0 from Callum Jones, something that Danny Andrew would have been very proud of himself. 1-1 from the set piece with 8 minutes to go. Probably Morecambe would be looking at that thinking we should have done better. But yeah, absolute worldie from Stockton. What can we say about it? Yeah, Paul Stockton should come with a health warning, definitely. Absolute tearing this league to pieces at the minute. I think he's joint top goal scorer. If he's at Morecambe come February, I will be very, very surprised. You don't see it very often. Halfway line, he's seen the keeper miles off his line. He's got the ability and the accuracy and the power to get that ball moving very quickly through the air and beating the keeper, and just sends the crowd, well, the travelling crowd, absolutely wild. Nappers wasn't a very happy bunny with that one. But yeah, fairly even game. Fleetwood dominating the ball, but in terms of shots and chances, fairly even. And finally, you've waited all this time here. Rotherham 3, Cambridge 1. And for me, Miller's absolutely piled on the pressure early on and took the deserved lead on the 34th minute through Ben Wiles. Poor defending for the penalty. For 2-0, it just kind of just bounced through him. He's panicked. It brought him down. Definitely a penalty for me. And Barlasser slots it home very, very nicely. Hats off to Cambridge for 20 minutes. They had us on the rack second half, but we got there without Rathbone and Smith. And I think, yeah, saying that, two very influential players within the Rotherham squad missing, and you've dispatched a team 3-1, and it shows the ability that you guys have got at this level. Cambridge did perform very well in the second half, put a bit of pressure on, got the kind of half the deficit on the 51st minute, and like you say, Rotherham were on the rack for a little bit, but then it was lovely interplay for the Cambridge goal. Very nice football to get that goal back, but then the header for 3-1 late on, and that's what Rotherham do. Crosses, big lads in the box, absolutely dominate you in the air. Good evening, Captain Nat. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, I pulled this a little bit earlier than normal, normally on at 6:30, but I've got a carvery to go to, or a Sunday dinner, so I'm looking forward to that. And that finishes the round off of all of the games from the international break and this Saturday. We'll finish up with a look at the table, starting, as we always do, at the bottom end, because it gets the disappointing part for me out of the way. Still second from bottom, but that result for Crewe pulls them a little bit closer to us, with the 1 point behind us now. We have got a game in hand, but Fleetwood, a game in hand over us. So our game in hand, don't think it's Bolton. I think it'll be Fleetwood. Yeah, Fleetwood from the international break, I believe. And then Fleetwood have obviously got the other game to play as well. But we've said it previously in streams, me and Jake, that the table isn't lying now. We're getting up to like the 20 game mark, and teams are in the position because that's where they deserve to be. They've just not been good enough, or they've been very, very good, depending which side of the table you're looking at. And Crewe, Doncaster, Fleetwood, Shrewsbury, Gillingham, Wimbledon started very well, but have tailed off. Morecambe again started very well, but have started to tail off as well. It's still very, very tight. I mean, 6 points between 24th and 18th. There's going to be changes coming up throughout this festive period. Plenty of games. Everybody's going to be beating everybody. I just hope, and that's a big word, hope. There's not so much belief anymore that we're going to be able to pull ourselves out of there. It's more hope. The injuries that we're getting is ridiculous, and we just don't seem like we've got any sort of ability up front to finish any teams off. Thiago Chikura had a very good opportunity against Lincoln on Saturday, and he wanted to take 3 or 4 touches before he hit it. If that's any other striker, he likes a Stockton, is hit it first time, and it's a 1-0 win. I think that lack of confidence could impact us throughout the season. Looking towards mid-table, we've got Bolton in 13th, Cambridge doing well in 14th, Burton in 15th. So we've got Doncaster, we've got Bolton and Burton next. Big game so that they don't pull away, both on 22 points. If we can get a couple of points from them, who knows? And then moving on to the top half of the table, and I mentioned it about Charlton when we played them a few games ago. I think it was 5 games ago. They were second bottom or third bottom. I think they were third bottom and we were second bottom. And they beat us 4-0. They've gone on a very good run, bit of consistency, and they've pulled themselves up to 12th. So a run of results in this league will get you will get you places. Mentioned it earlier on, Cheltenham, the highest placed team in the league at the moment, who got promoted, so doing very, very well themselves. And then the top 6, Plymouth still top of the tree at the minute, even though the taste of first defeat since the first game of the season. Rotherham, though, very close behind, game in hand, 34 points, so they win that game in hand, they will leapfrog them. Wycombe, though, a couple of games in hand and 2 points behind Plymouth, so that result could have been a little bit damaging for Plymouth if teams in and around them win their games in hand. The rest of the top 6 made up of Wycombe, MK Dons and Sunderland, but Sheffield Wednesday not far out of it as well. There will be plenty of twists and turns in the League One table for sure. Oh, thank you very much. Great stream, Dan. You're one of the best. I try my best. Yeah, thank you. Give up. But yeah, that brings me to the end of this stream. It's been a bit more difficult without having a co-presenter with me. I wish Jake a speedy recovery if this vaccination knocked him off his feet as well. As I say, his link is in the description down below. Go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. Send your love over to him. I hope everybody who's been watching is well as well. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all next week. If you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up for us, please. Comments in the section down below if you're watching this on repeat. Subscribe to me if you haven't already. Plenty of content. I'm hopefully going to be at the Bolton game on Tuesday, all being well, so there'll be a match day vlog coming up. And all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.